CJ sent through a question saying, I believe that camels are used as weed control cattle properties as the seeds cannot germinate from camel dung. I don't know if anybody knows anything about that. CJ's saying, I believe that camels are used as weed control on some cattle properties as seeds cannot germinate from camel dung. If anyone knows anything on that, 1300 800 222, or if you have a question of your own or a comment even about the history of the Afghan camel ears. Pamela, how much do you know about camel dung?
Well, that's an interesting one. I do get a lot of people saying to me, the Afghans have brought across these particular weeds. I've not heard about camel dung of the camel spreading weeds, but that would make sense actually, because the Afghans were accused of bringing over certain weeds. So, for example, buffalo grass is a weed now that's quite spread across the Australian continent, and it was suggested that the grass came in the saddles of the Afghans who brought their saddles with them from northwest India. And obviously, if the duffel grass is spread across Australia, I guess it's been spread through camel dung.
So although CJ is thinking that some weeds, the seeds can't germinate from camel dung.
Yeah, now that is an area that it's not so much the camel dung that I've researched, it's the type of weed that Australian people have suggested to me that they brought here, and from then on it spread. So that is an area of research that I think I might just try and follow up now.
Yeah, if somebody at the library pops over your shoulder and says, what are you looking up? You say, camel dung, it's the new thing. Maybe somebody at home is an expert in camel dung as well. 1300 800 222. Now, in Australian history, something interesting happened at Broken Hill. Can you tell me what happened here?
Yeah, look, it's not typical of the Afghans, but in 1915 January, in Broken Hill there's a North Camel Camp where a lot of the families established themselves, and then there's a South Camel Camp, suggesting that there were quite a few numbers of families. By 1915, some of the Afghans there had already married and had started raising children of their own. Two people from the Afghan camp decided to attack a picnic train in Broken Hill. And these two men were actually Turkish in their birthplace. They were Mohammedan, but they were actually Turks, whereas the Afghans came from Afghanistan or northwest India. And they attacked the picnic train because it was considered to be an act of jihad. Jihad is a word we use more commonly now, but in 1915, as now, it was believed, if you're a Mohammedan or a Muslim, that wherever you believe your religion is being threatened in the world, you can fight to defend it anywhere in the world. So that's jihad. So these two Turks attacked the picnic train, and they did that because of our soldiers landing on their country's soil. The soldiers of Turkey at that time, committing themselves to an act of defending their religion.
On ABC Radio overnight, although I have also, read that jihad is also to struggle or to strive as well, as a definition as well. So this, as you said, was a particularly different situation to what was experienced around the rest of the country.
Yes. Because most of the Afghans, because I read a lot about that too, and most of the Afghans in that camp at that time were, of course, were questioned by police, because police did an investigation into most of the Afghans in the camp at that time is associated with the two Turks. They didn't wish to be... be supporting the act of these two particular Turks.
Pamela, when did it stop? When did the mainstream, I guess, work of the Afghan cameliers just stop action?
By the 1920s, it's interesting, there are wonderful pictures of Afghans standing as a guard of honour when the train came from Perth to Coolgardie, but it's a very sad photograph because it reflects their doom. By the 1920s, railway lines had gone into interior of Western Australia, into the interior of Northern Territory, South Australia, New South Wales, Queensland. The railway had followed the train lines, so the Model T Ford was being bought by a lot of pastoralists. So the government decided that there was no longer a need economically to continue working the camel strings, and has sent a message to the Afghans, for example at Maree, that they should begin to shoot their camels because the camels were no longer needed economically and that there was no place left on our continent. The Afghans at Maree of protest saying that they refused to kill the camels because the camels were their livelihood, and as we mentioned earlier, they had begun to breed their own camels by this stage on the continent, and so they were very affectionately close to their camels too, so they refused to shoot them. The camels then began to wander around the towns on the commons, grazing at the herbage and damaging and ruining the soil, and they were polluting waters, so the pastoralists were given our permission to shoot them. So this was happening in the 1930s, and camels became very difficult to hunt down and be shot by the pastoralists, and in the end camels just kept breeding up. They had natural predators. They began to move into more remote interior areas of the continent where they were further away from human contact, but they became a menace because they would want to get to water holes, especially water dams. If there was a shortage of water, they head for dams on pastoral properties, and they would start breaking fences down to get to water. They were denuding the landscape, so they were beginning to be well fed. There is no natural predator, so their numbers began to really accelerate, up to, I understand, about 800,000 to 1 million running wild on our continent being the only continent with wild camels.
Yeah, there are some parts where in the country where feral camels are a problem, and different things have popped up, different ideas. I remember I heard one story about the possibility of portable abattoirs that you could just set up in the middle of the desert. I mean, lots of different ideas and such are thrown around. I'm not sure whether that actually ever happened or not, or whether it was just a dream in the sci-fi side. But one thing that is happening at the moment is that there is this kind of popular market, I guess you could say, for camel products, and camel milk and camel meat is entering the mainstream.
Yep. Yes, and the irony there is